Well, good evening, Texas 11. This is Congressman Pfluger. I'm coming to you live from my office in Longworth in Washington, D.C. I wanted to provide an update to you about what's going on today, the vote that we're taking, the negotiations that have been happening with the Fiscal Responsibility Act. And I think it's important. I try very hard to be transparent on what we're doing. I, in fact, just had a telephone town hall and want to describe to you in detail the thought process. So look, these are hard issues, but I want to give you an understanding of what's going on in Washington, D.C., what we've been doing over the past few months, and specifically how the Speaker of the House has been negotiating with the President on getting our spending under control, on getting our debt under control, and on getting our country back on a better track. So to start, look, these are again very difficult issues to deal with. I don't take them lightly. The bill that we're voting on tonight, the Fiscal Responsibility Act, is not perfect. No bill ever is. This is a negotiated bill between Republicans and their Speaker of the House, McCarthy, and the President of the United States, Biden. The first 2 years that President Biden was in office, our debt and deficit increased by $6 trillion. It's unacceptable. It was out of control. One-party Democrat rule spent trillions of dollars and wasted money on things that quite frankly, the American public may never know about it. This is why we take this so incredibly serious and why we're doing our best right now to get the ship righted, to turn it around and get on a path of fiscal responsibility. Knowing that the bill is not perfect, I want to walk you through it. This is the largest single decrease in spending in the history of this country, $2 trillion, $1.5 trillion in the first 2 years, and $0.5 trillion in the next 4 years. We're going to get Americans back to work. The Biden administration has paid people to stay at home after the pandemic. Millions of Americans are receiving paychecks to sit on their couch, and we're not okay with that. Able-bodied Americans should go to work. 20 hours is the requirement. This is a massive win to get people back into the workforce and get our economy back into strength. We have an energy provision that I pushed very hard for. And this energy provision not only helps the Permian Basin, which is the largest secure supply of oil and gas in the entire world, it is the epicenter of energy security, not just in Texas, but in the United States. And this energy provision will unlock and unjam the assault that the Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA, has placed and the burdens they have placed on many, many energy companies. I'll give you an example. There are 229 major fossil fuel projects that are underway, waiting approval right now in the United States. 229. These could be major drilling projects, pipelines, refineries, export facilities, terminals, you name it. 229 of them are awaiting permitting. And on average, the permitting is taking 6 to 8 years and an additional 2 years to build. So 10 years. These numbers are coming from the White House. They're the ones that are putting the data out. That's unacceptable. And the cost of those projects being delayed is $167 billion. This is energy that could go to American consumers, that could lower inflation. And this provision to now put some constraints on the EPA and tell them that you only have 1 year to conduct your analysis and 2 years total to write the impact statement. That we're going to make sure that you don't hold companies up in 6 or 7 different federal agencies, that you have one lead agency. In fact, I've got the bill here with me right now, and you can see permitting reform. This is the bill that we're going to be voting on tonight. And that permitting reform is the single largest reform in 40 plus years of the EPA's existence. And it affects our district directly. It affects the Permian Basin directly. I fought for this when the deal was being negotiated between Speaker McCarthy and the President. This had a chance of coming out, and I pushed hard and I said, this is important. We have to keep this in. This bill includes it. We will unleash American energy and no longer have a president who needs to go to Saudi Arabia to ask for oil and gas. We can do it right here. Not only are we doing that, but we fought hard for our veterans. We're going to increase what we're doing for our veterans and take care of their mental health needs and make sure that their families are taken care of for the sacrifices. Our military is also an important win. And let me read you what the president wanted. The president said he wanted new taxes. We defeated him on those. The president said no spending cuts. We got $2 trillion in spending cuts. He said no new energy projects, and we got permitting reform. He said no work requirements, and we're able to get able-bodied Americans back to work. The Mountain Valley Pipeline had been stalled out for 2 years, and we're able to put that into production. That's 3 billion cubic feet of natural gas, not just for our country, not just for the Northeast, but also for our partners and allies. The president said he would not negotiate, but he did. We're going to claw back billions of dollars of unspent COVID money that it was in slush funds created by President Biden, sent to people like Secretary Buttigieg to use as political favors, and we're going to claw those back. Look, this bill right here is 99 pages. I've read it. It's not perfect, but it's a good bill. It's a good negotiated bill. When two people go in and negotiate, you don't get everything you want. I want to see stronger words on the next bill that we do. I want to see it go further in the cuts that we have. I want to see us continue to bend that debt curve down and get fiscal responsibility so that our children and our grandchildren can live in a country where they're not shackled by debt. We will do that. This is a good bill. I'm going to vote yes on it tonight. I believe that you sent me up here to have a plan, to have a solution, and to move the country forward. This is a first down. We're not declaring victory. We haven't won the game. Our work is not done. In fact, it's just beginning. We need more first downs. And I believe this is an important first down. It gets us a strong foundation, and it shows the country we can govern. The country is looking for us to govern, looking for us to pass something. The President of the United States refused to meet with Speaker McCarthy for 97 days. 97 days. That's unacceptable. Republicans have a plan. We had a solution. This is part of it. This bill that we're going to pass tonight is part of it. It doesn't get us all the way there, but it's a good step. Speaker McCarthy had a good plan. And meanwhile, Chuck Schumer in the Senate has done nothing but sit back and not pass anything. In the first 5 months, we've passed legislation to secure our energy sources, to once again become energy dominant. We have passed legislation that I helped draft and write to secure our border. We passed legislation to defund 87,000 IRS agents. And in one section of this bill, you will see that we're not going to fund a penny of the 87,000 IRS agents this year, and we'll come back and we'll vote on that again next year. This bill is a good foundational bill, and it's not perfect, but I think it's worth supporting. And when you're listening on social media, you may hear that the bill has no teeth and it doesn't do anything and it extends the debt. These are false claims. It could be stronger, and I want it to be stronger. And the steps that we'll take after we pass this bill will be to pass this Congress in the coming months a 10-year balanced budget. And then when we enter the appropriations process later this year, we will work to make sure that we continue to realize the cuts. But $2 trillion is the largest cut in the history of this country. And it's the first time that a speaker can say that they actually spent less this year than they did in the previous year. These are important. I appreciate everyone who's called my office. I take it very seriously what you think. I take it very seriously what you're feeling and your perspective. And I don't expect everybody to agree, but I want you to know that I'm working hard. And we have garnered a big victory specifically in the energy industry that would not be in this bill were it not for me fighting for it and highlighting as the chairman of the House Energy Action Team and a member of the Energy Commerce Team that this energy provision is so important that it's part of our national security discussion. So thank you very much for listening to this. Continue to call my office. Let me know what you're thinking. Please pray for this country. Pray for our leaders. God bless.